So this is one of the tree geometry shapes that we have. I'm not really going to show you stickery, it's going to be the tree geometry, the bigger stuff. And what I'm curious about is the shapes that we've got, you can see here. I'll just let you see what it looks like. I'll put that image in now. You can have a look, see what it actually looks like. Okay, and what I'm really curious of is the shadows, because I think that the shadows are quite important. See how they make a particular shapes. It was just a thought that maybe it's the shadows that are important. So that's our first triogeometry. That's what it actually looks like, but it's not limbs. They're not just little sticks. These are fully grown trees. So you've got to kind of imagine those on the ground. That was number one. So this is number two. So from up above, that's what it looks like. See the way the shadow of that delta is working? And then if I look at it from behind here, try and create a shadow on the wall at the back. So the reflection cast by the light shining on the purpley pink tree almost mirrors exactly the shape of the green tree. You wouldn't notice that in daytime, but that's quite interesting. There we go. I'm going to show you an insert now of image number 3. I'll put that in the screen for you. So to go through it, we've got this one here, this orange one, not attached to anything. The yellow one, not attached to anything. And we've got this green, and it's a tree that has a snap or a bend here. It's almost a snap. And then we've got this purple, not attached to anything. And then a back to front Z here. And that is completely flat. It's not a 3-dimension. It's just using trees that have fallen or have been chosen to place in this shape. It's not really natural the way the branches are laid. This one laid on top of that one. This one laid on top. This Z-shaped bend. I've never seen trees do that by themselves. I just wondered what you think of that. So that is tree geometry number 3. Then we have tree number 4. So I'm just going to insert this photograph for you so you can see it now, what it looks like. There you are. I'm just going to point out one or two things. It's all one tree, and this is about 3 feet from here to here. So it has one snap, and then it comes down and across, and there's a slight kink in it there as well. It's supposed to be flat on the ground. So you can sort of see the way the shadows, I've got lights here coming from up above here. So you can sort of see some shadowing. Isn't it peculiar the way that shadow works from the different sides? Again, we've got strange sort of almost arrow-shaped vectoring, look like a plane, an aeroplane on its side. We'll see what it looks like with some other shadows. So we've got a long shadow now. This might mimic what the sun does as it moves across. I have a feeling it's more to do with what the moon does on a bright moonlit night. See the way that shadow is created? And it works better if I create an arc with the light. Quite interesting, isn't it? How these shadows work. So this is number 5. And we get this shape so frequently. And you've got one limb from here, complete one limb, one tree, should I say, another tree here, then a short half tree across here. This is flat, it's not 3-dimensional, it's just laid on the ground. I have a feeling that just this single one here, like this, without that, means an opening. But like everything, it's very hard to validate it. So if I insert number 5 for you in here, so you can see what it looks like. That's image number 5. Quite interesting. It's flat. There aren't any shadows created by it. I can try and create shadows, but it does lay on the ground. It almost looks like it could be an A if they had the same lettering as us. If they even have wording, lettering. But this symbol, it's an interesting symbol. Okay, now we're going to move on to number 6. So that's our image number 6. It's again flat, and this is fuzz arc really. So if we look at the yellow on the left hand side, that goes under the pink, and then the green goes over the top of the pink. That's how it looks like on the photograph and in reality. So I've laid it as it is. So one is over and one is under. That might just be the way they've done it. It might not have any significance, but so this does not have any shadows or anything like that because it is flat. It's flat on the ground. So we'll move on to image number 7. So now we're on to image number 7, and this was huge. These were really long trees, but it's slightly off center, so you have one line, one tree there, then you have another tree coming across here, and then another one down here. So from that angle you might get a better view of how it looks if you were to look at it straight. I'm just going to insert the photograph now so you can see what the image actually looks like. So that might give you a clearer view. It was flat on the ground. It wasn't straight. and it was weaved in between some really tall trees that were still standing. So when I first saw it, I thought it was Gemini, but now I don't think so at all. I think it means something completely different. But you're just getting a better idea of the perspective of what these tree glyphs, tree geometry, actually look like. And if you bear in mind that, say, the green and the yellow are one full tree, that shows you how large this tree glyph was. Okay, that's that. That's number 7. Well, I would like to say that it was obvious what this shape is. For me, it's very obvious, but nothing is to be taken for granted in this game. Having said that, a double X, and that looks like an X from a distance. A double X is fertility. But for me, the first shape I see is on its side. Let me tilt the camera, see what you think. That's the first shape I see, which is the cross. I don't know if that's meant to be that, but the angle that this was on when I came across it was on its side like this. If I insert the original photograph of this in here now, and you can compare the two. So this is image number 9. Now it's quite hard to make out which belongs to which here. There was only, these ones were the ones that were attached, although there's a lot of the trees in the image. So I'll show you what the original image looks like. And you can see there are trees in the foreground, trees in the back. But these were the ones that were actually attached. You can see some semblance of shadow on the ground there. You can see if I can create a shadow. Look at the shape we're getting on the wall at the back. This is image number 10, and I'll just insert the photograph now so you can see what it looks like. So the shadow is extremely clear. And I just know someone's going to say, it's the Starship Enterprise. But it is an interesting shape nonetheless. So the green is not attached and it's on a slope. It's leaning back, tilted back. And the red one just touches the front of it. That's on an angle. So let's create some shadows, see what it looks like from here. Look at the shape of the shadow, and we get that quite frequently laying on the ground. My point with all of this, I don't know whether you can see this or not, but my point with all of this is, although we see all these glyphs, I mean, this is a vertical one. Some of these tree glyphs are laying flat on the ground. My point with all of this is it actually the glyph that we're looking at that we have to take notice of? Or is it the shadow which is important? So here we go, this is another one. Now this one is giant. This comes from Dragonfly. It's a couple of hours away from here, but the family is connected. They are connected. I am just going to insert the original of this. Something about this that looks like a star. You see the original shape? I mean, these are huge. These are whole trees. They were huge. It's flat. It's not three-dimensional. And this covers an area of about 2 acres of nothing but these glyphs, tree glyphs. So these here, this one, this green here, and this green comes up here. These are two separate trees, great big trees. And then there's another one that runs underneath it. And then just this little additional thing here. These from here to here, they are roughly probably about 6 meters long. Each tree is well over 6 meters long, actually. Well over that, I would say. So just thought I would point that out for you. It's flat, like I say, it's not three-dimensional, and it does have that appearance of looking like a star shape. So we'll move on to the next shape. So this is the next shape. And it's from, if I show you the image, this is the image, the correct way up that the image is. So this, from this angle, this is a well-known shape within Futhark as well. Here we have again 6 to 7 meter tree lengths for each one of these trees. So you have this central one that comes up here. Then you've got the windmill, say the green here, the windmill. Then you've got a horizontal. Have a look, if I alternate it with the original, see what you think. It's quite interesting, isn't it? I wonder if you have any ideas. It's certainly a sign within Futhark. This is where I got the idea of all this Futhark from. Some of these shapes were just screaming out Futhark. So it is a communication, definitely a form of communication, a universal form of communication. So regardless of what language you speak, rather like Latin, you could say you could understand what it meant. So on that note of Futhark, I believe that the Northern Hemisphere does use it. Europe, Scandinavia, they use it. Probably the Northern Russia, possibly even Canada, stretch of Vikings, where they went to. Because it's like a Viking language, they used it a lot. But the Southern Hemisphere does not seem to use these type of glyphs. They have a different communication system. So it must be to do with, in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm wondering if it's similar to the glyphs, petroglyphs that you see for the Aboriginal of Australia, for their peoples. I wonder if they use a similar stuff. I do believe it's all connected with the shape of the stars, but see what you think on that. We'll go on to the next one. And this is the next one, and I'm just going to insert the original image, photographic image in here for you. See what you think of it. It's also lying on the ground. These are not three-dimensional, these are flat. And it's strange, you've almost got, these are almost parallel, the yellow and that, they're almost parallel. These two, this one here and the green one, they are almost parallel. And purple runs at an angle. And then this, like, I think that's a Futhark sign for change. But we've seen a similar shape to this, like the pi sign before. Similar, but in reverse. I wonder what you think of that. Like I say, it's flat. And these are quite large trees. They're not just little sticks. But if you came across that shape in your forest, I'm just going to alternate it with the original photograph. So if you came across this in your forest, would you not question it? Or would you just walk past it and think, oh look, how those trees have arranged themselves on the ground in a pattern? What do you think? Would you be surprised by it? What would you think? I know it would cause an alarm for me. I would think that's not natural. That's just not natural. But if you have any ideas on this, I mean, we could be looking at it a wrong way. It could be that this is an X that we're looking at here. We can see an X, which could also become an A. It's very strange, isn't it? I mean, this is the misshapen diamond here. You see this triangle a lot, another triangle there, sort of a triangle underneath. An open-ended triangle here. I don't know, I'm just trying to think. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. See what you folks think. Like I say, pop it in the comments. Let's think about this. Let's get the brains working, because you've all got fantastic brains, great ideas. Let's see if we can put them into some kind of practice. Let's move on to the next one. And this is the last one for today. Look at those shadows that it creates. I'll just insert the original so you can see it. Let's see if I can create shadows. It's quite strange, isn't it, the way it looks? I mean, these were trees that were, I think, about 5 feet from the ground here to the bend and down, and then again the same here, from here to the bend. That's it, 5 feet. How the bend, I don't know how that bend stays in the ground, but it's unusual. But that's what we've got, folks. So if you have any ideas on that, what you think it might be, or any of them, what you think they may be. And yeah, I'm with you. It is very Starship Enterprise. The whole thing is quite Starship Enterprise. I just find it quite interesting. I just can't get any better ideas than that. See what you think and let me know. If you came across this in your forest, side by side, would you walk past it and just say, oh, that's normal? Or would it arouse your curiosity? Certainly made me very curious when I seen these, because it's not normal.